Welcome to EPG Pathsala. Myself Dr. Kumari Vandana. This is module number 21 and the topic of the module is concept of Tridosha in Ayurveda. First we will talk about the objectives of the module. Firstly, we will start with the broad objectives of this module, which includes the introduction, physiological perspective of Tridosha. Third is the divisions of Tridosha, applied aspects of Tridosha, and finally the summary. First we will start with the introduction. Ayurveda. Ayurveda is referred as science of life because the Sanskrit meaning of the word Ayush is life and the Veda is science or knowledge. The Ayurvedic philosophy, which has its roots in the Vedas, the oldest written literature in the world, which tells us how life in its totality can be understood. It is not just a system of medicine in the conventional sense of treating disease, but it is a way of life that teaches us how to maintain and protect health. It shows us both how to cure diseases and how to promote longevity. Ayurveda treats man as a whole, which is a combination of body, mind and soul, in contrast to the Western medicine, which is based more on structures and reduces everything to fundamental unit of matter, which is generally referred as reductionist approach. The conventional medicine and its research methodologies are largely based on Newtonian physics and the classical reductionist worldview model, where there is no role of consciousness. On the other hand, Ayurveda life sciences is based on the holistic logic where physiology is connected to consciousness and has its own function oriented approaches like theories of Panchamahabhuta, Tridosha, Dhatu, Agni, etc., which cannot be fully explained in terms of conventional anatomy and physiology. The fundamental basis of Ayurveda are found in ancient Indian treatises on the physical and metaphysical aspects of the universe, which are called as darsanas. The concept of the different darsanas have been used by the Ayurveda to understand the various relationships which governs life or the life processes and also the relations between humans and the cosmos. Now we are going to talk about the concept of Ayurveda and the modern physics. In the sequence of gradual modification of fundamental sciences, notion in physics and bioscience, which is gradually shifting to a quantum logics and nanoscience, presently the modern science has developed unified theories in quantum physics. In contrary, in ancient philosophy, there is already description of the concept of unified field of consciousness. In Indian metaphysics, man is a microsome of the universe, the macrosome that he inhabits. Yatha loke tatha pinde. That means whatever man is made up of, the world too is made of those same things or elements. The Ayurvedic philosophy postulates that the universe, nature and the human body are all comprised of 5 fundamental elements called the Panchamahabhutas, that is the space, air, fire, water and earth, whose biological applications in human is reflected in the form of three dosas. They are the Vata, Pitta and Kapha. In Ayurveda, body, mind and consciousness work together to maintain a balance and are called the tripod of life. To learn how to maintain balance between body, mind and consciousness, it is very important to know how Vata, Pitta and Kapha work together. Presently, quantum physics predicted that real world is non-classical and everything in the universe are interrelated. So, the change in one part will also will reflected in other parts too. The Vedic concept of Yat Pindete Brahmande suggests that the harmonious continuum of complex interdependent relationship between living and the non-living forms in the interconnected universe. This concept of interconnected, interdependent and dynamic relationship is consistent with the quantum worldview. Ayurveda, which has its origin from Vedas, has integrated this concept of interrelated interconnectedness in humans into its understanding of health and diseases. It considers human body as an indivisible whole with a network of interrelated functions, mind and consciousness, wherein a disturbance in one part will have disturbance in the other parts as well. Ayurveda considers life as a complex interrelationship of three dosa. It not merely a structure made up of cells or atoms, molecules, which distinguishes it from biomedicine in dealing with human body in a holistic way. Now proceeding further, we will talk about the physiological perspective of Tridosha. Let us start with the central concept of Ayurveda, the dosas. What does dosa mean? The literal meaning of the term dosa is that which can become vitiated. So, dosa refers to all the factors and energies responsible for the physiological functions which are prone to imbalances and vitiate other bodily tissues. However, this definition is not adequate in all the context. Dosa is a specific word used in the Ayurvedic text, and when they are in normal state, that is in the quantity, quality and function, they maintain a harmonious psychophysiology and they are called the dhatus. But once they go out of balance, they corrupt or vitiate the dhatus, the bodily tissues in which they reside, and then they become the dosas. The terms Vata, Pitta and Kapha in Sanskrit refers to the functions like movement, transformation, cumulation respectively. So the dosas actually represents dynamic principles which are physiochemical and functional in nature, which governs all life processes. They are the energy complexes which is known by their attributes or gunas. Vata, Pitta, Kapha are the very foundation principle of Ayurveda. The concept of humors, wind, bile and phlegm found in past Greek medicine can be considered likely an offspring of Ayurveda. The dosas are made up of Panchamahabhus. These five fundamental elements combine with each other in the different proportion to form the Tridosa. However, there is a predominance of one or other elements in each dosa, as Vata is primarily composed of space and air, Pitta of fire and water, and Kapha of water and earth. By analyzing the functions of the dosa, the three dosas can be correlated with the elementary system theory in the field of physics, which identifies three main functions for an open system: the input or output, throughput or turnover, and the storage. In balanced state, the nature of doshas is to serve an integrative function and to be materially and energetically supportive of the biopsychosocial well-being of the individual. Now, proceeding further, we will talk about the properties of Tridoshas. Any substance exhibits the properties of elements of which it is made up of. Each dosa has its distinct properties depending upon the predominance of basic elements of which it is composed of. The Vata dosa has the properties like dry, cold, light, subtle, mobile, non-slimy and rough in properties. The Pitta dosa is slightly unctuous, hot, sharp, liquid, light and pungent smell. Kapha dosa is heavy, cold, soft, unctuous, sweet, stable and slimy. Now the functions of dosa. Though the three dosa functionally exist at all the levels of biological system, but the Vata is predominantly found in lower abdomen, Pitta in the area between the navel and the heart, while the Kapha resides in the area above the heart. Now we are going to describe each dosa in detail. Vata. Vata is a subtle energy that controls forces of movement in the body and mind. Now the location of Vata. Its major sites are believed to be the colon, lower back, calf muscles, ear, bones and joint. In normal state, Vata is responsible for bestowing enthusiasm, eagerness, desire, respiratory movements, all activities of the body, mind and speech, initiation and execution of urges, secretomotor functions in the gut, regulation of psychological processes, initiation of all the activities of sense organs, transmission of different sensations and control and coordination of different parts of the body. In short, Vata controls the respiratory, circulatory, lymphatic, excretory and reproductive systems as well as all types of bodily movements. So we can say that all the functions of central, peripheral and autonomic nervous system are represented through Vata in Ayurveda. The imbalance of Vata results in abnormal movements, suppression of secretions, contractions of muscles, spasm, roughness of the skin, astringent taste in the mouth, constipation, anxiety, emaciation of body, disturbed sleep, abdominal distension, abnormal speech and sensory functions. Now we will discuss about the Pitta. The location of Pitta. The major sites of Pitta are believed to be the stomach, duodenum, liver, spleen, pancreas, heart, eyes and skin. In the normal state, Pitta is responsible for digestion, maintenance of body temperature, appetite, production of hunger, thirst, complexion, courage, valor and softness in the body. It controls the forces of transformation and primarily responsible for metabolism, including the cellular and the subcellular metabolism, digestion, thermoregulation, energy homeostasis, pigmentation, vision, understanding, and intelligence. As a pitta performs the activities like digestion, metabolism, production of heat, so it is also called as Agni, that is meaning fire. Imbalanced state of pitta results in yellowish discoloration of eyes, urine, feces, and skin. It also causes excessive hunger, thirst, sweat, burning sensation, redness, etc. Now the kapha. The location of kapha. Kapha is situated in the chest, stomach, brain, tongue and synovial membrane of the bone joints. In normal state, kapha controls the anabolic forces and is responsible for growth and maintenance of structures, storage and stability. It provides cohesion that holds the cells together. Kapha provides stability, lubrication, compactness to joints, moisturizes skin, maintains immunity, forbearance, that is the capacity to withstand or withhold emotions, stress, etc., and expressed as calmness and forgiveness. And this imbalance of kapha can result in weak digestive power, excessive salivation, feeling of heaviness, coldness, whitish discoloration, dyspnea, cough, itching, reduced activity of limbs, swelling, etc. Now we will talk about the divisions of dosa. There are 3 dosas and each of them has been divided into 5 subtypes. Each subsystem has a leader as Pranvat controls other vatas, Pachak Pitta controls other pittas and the Alembic Cava controls other kaphas. First, we will talk about the subdivisions of vata. The 5 types of vata and their functions are as follows. Pranvata. It is situated in head and is responsible for controlling intellectual functions, cardiovascular functions, sense organs, psychological activities, respiration and reflex activities like sneezing, belching, deglutition, etc. Second is the Udanvata. Its active site is in chest region and it is primarily responsible for production of speech. The effort and strength required for speech production are also the function of Udana. It also helps in recalling the vocabulary required for well articulated speech. Now the Vyanvata. The active site of Vyanvata is heart. Movements like contraction and relaxation of muscle, eye movement, yawning, blood circulation, limb circulations, movement all over the body and it's moved all over the body and provide nourishment to all the tissues. So, sympathetic and parasympathetic control of the functions of heart may be indicated by the Vyanvata. Now the Samanvata. The active site of Samanvata is adjacent to the gastrointestinal tract. It performs the functions like receiving food, its digestion through the activation of Agni, separations of nutrient and wastes, and its onward propulsion. The described functions are either those of parasympathetic nervous systems supplying the gut or those of the enteric nervous system. Now the Apanvata. Its active site is the pelvic region. Apana controls excretory processes like micturition, defecation, menstruation, ejaculation and its aid in the expulsion of fetus. The autonomic nervous system might be considered to have role in most of these activities. The description of the 5 vatas has been presented. First is the pranvata. It maintains intellect, sense organs, heart, mind, breathing, expectorations. It controls the action of other vatas. Second is the udan vata. It controls activities, strength, discriminations. It nourishes bodily tissues. It is responsible for consciousness. Third is the Vyan Vata. Movements like contraction and relaxation of muscles, upward and downward movement of eyelids, yawning are the functions of Vyan Vata. It is also responsible for blood circulation, lymph circulation, nourishment to all tissues, and it is the vata that pervades entire body. The Saman Vata. It is responsible for movement in the digestive system. Retaining food in the alimentary tract, separations of essence and wastage are also the function of Saman Vata. It is also responsible for the downward movement of wastage. Now the Apan Vata. That is responsible for elimination of feces, urine, semen, menstrual fluid, fetuses. Now we will talk about the subdivisions of Pitta and their functions. First is the Pachak Pitta. It controls the digestion and assimilation of food. It is responsible for separation of nutrients from wastage. Now second is the Ranjak Pitta. It is responsible for red color to the ras, and it is associated with the second is the Ranjak Pitta, and it is responsible for red color to the rasa. It is associated with the blood. Third is the Sadhak Pitta, and it is associated with discrimination, intelligence, pride, enthusiasm. The Alochak Pitta helps in the vision. The last Pitta is the Bhrajak Pitta. It is associated with skin complexion, and it is helpful in digestion. Now third, we are going to describe about the subdivisions of kaphas and their functions. First is the Alembic Cava. It is associated with heart, and the fluid in the chest, shoulder, arm and neck are the functions of kapha. It supports now we are going to describe about the different types of kaphas and their functions. First is the Alembic Cavas. It is responsible. First is the Alembic Cava. It is associated with heart. The fluid in the chest, shoulder, arm and neck are because of the Alembic Cava. This kapha supports other kaphas also. Second is the Kleda Kapha. It controls the lubrication of food in the digestive process. Third is the Bodha Kapha. It controls the saliva and other juices that moisten the mouth. The taste perception is also because of the Bodha Kapha. Third is the Tarpak Kapha. It is associated with fluids in the head, and it is responsible for nourishment of the senses. The last is the Shlesa Kapha, and it is responsible for lubrication of joints in the body. Now we are going to describe about the 5 types of pittas and their functions, which are as follows. The first is the Pachak Pitta. The function of Pachak Pitta is equivalent to the Jitragni, that is the metabolic fire. Its function suggests that the enzymes responsible for digestion, along with all the gastrointestinal hormones and the all local hormones of the GIT, can be included in it. The second is the Ranjak Pitta. Its major sites is believed to be stomach, liver and spleen, and it is responsible for synthesis of rakta, that is blood. The Brajak Pitta. It is believed to be situated in the skin. As we know, the pigmentation of skin is under the control of the hormones like ICTH and MSH from the anterior pituitary, and some local enzymes in the skin is responsible for the metabolism of certain drugs applied topically. So, Brajak Pitta can be considered to include these enzymes along with the hormones controlling pigmentation. The Sadhak Pitta. It is believed to be located in the heart, but all the functions ascribed to this Pitta are of cerebrum, limbic system, hypothalamus and other structure of CNS. The Alochak Pitta. Its major site is to be believed its major site is believed to be the eyes, and it is responsible for normal vision. The photosensitive chemicals in the eyes called the photopigments and the whole process involved in photochemistry of vision along with the neurotransmitter involved in the visual pathway can be represented by the Alochak Pitta. Now we are going to just understand the 5 types of kaphas. First is the Alembic Cava. It is situated in the thorax and it protects the thoracic region and other vital structures like heart, through which it is called Ambukarma, referring to the humidification. Other anatomical sites where other types of kapha are situated also are dependent on this. The Ambukarma can be referred as a lymphatic drainage. Now the Kledak Kapha. It is present in the stomach and moistens the ingested food. The mucus secreted in the stomach provides protection to mucous membrane of the stomach along with the providing liquid medium for digestive process. The gut associated lymphoid tissues also plays important role in protection by preventing the entry of microbes through the gut. Acid secreted in stomach also provides innate immunity to some extent. All these functions can be applied under the Kledak Kapha. Now there is the Bodhak Kapha. This is said to be present in oral cavity and it helps in the perception of taste. So the salivary juice secreted in the oral cavity not only helps in the process of taste perception, but it also performs some protective functions, and these can be included in the Bodhak Kapha. The Tarpak Kapha. It is situated in the head and is responsible for protection and nourishment of the sensory and motor organs. The microglia and other similar glial cells of the brain tissues may be considered to represent Tarpak Kapha. Now is the Slesak Kapha. This kapha is present in the bony joints and is responsible for lubrication and easy movements of the joints. But the Slesak kapha is not only the synovial fluid which reduces the friction between the articular surface of the joint. As we see in the most of the systemic autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, systemic sclerosis, systemic lupus erythematosus, etc., the joints are the prominent sites of inflammation. Such involvement must be therefore ascribed to the problems of Slesak kapha. The functions of the immune system and all other such protective mechanism in the body is controlled by the kapha in Ayurveda. Now we will discuss about the applied aspect of the three dosas. The functional aspect of Vata, Pitta and Kapha exist at all levels of biological organization. For example, the movement exists at the level of cell as the cell motility, membrane transverse, and at the level of organ, that is respiration, at it movements at the entire system level, that is the running, and also in the mind, the movements of the thoughts. Human system is a complex network of three dosas. Now we will see the relationship of dosa and the environment. The individual is interconnected with the environment, and the change in the external environment can also influence the internal environment of the body. Dosas increase or decrease naturally during the course of a day, different seasons, example the diurnal cycle, the seasonal rhythm, etc. This concept have been practically applied in Ayurvedic concepts such as the Dincharya and the Ritucharya, the daily and the seasonal regimens, and in its understanding of causative factors during epidemics. Now we will discuss about the daily variations of dosas. The three dosas have the tendency to increase and decrease during the different phase of day and night. The whole 24 hours can be divided into two segments, day and night, and the variation in the level of dosa can be seen. During daytime, in the forenoon, that is Purvahan, and the last phase of night, there is predominance of Vata. In the noontime, that is the Madhyan, and the midnight, there is a predominance of Pitta. In morning and the first phase of night, there is predominance of Kapha. In morning and the first phase of night, there is predominance of Kapha. They maintain our biological clock or the circadian. They maintain our biological or circadian rhythm. Taking this rhythm into consideration, a healthy daily regimen, Dincharya, has been described in Ayurveda. Now in the present table, the predominance of different dosa in different time of the day has been described. In the daytime, the Vata is predominant at the end of the day, that is around 2 p.m. and the 6 p.m. While in the midday, that is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Pitta is predominant. While the Kapha is predominant in the first phase of the day, that is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. During the night time, Vata is predominant in the end of the night, that is 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. While the Pitta is predominant in the midnight, that is from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And Kapha is more predominant at the first phase of night, that is the 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. Now we will discuss about the Tridosha and the seasons. Now we will talk about the three dosas and the seasons. As the human body is a part of this ecosystem, it is influenced by the changes in the environment with the seasons. Depending upon the attributes of the different seasons, the dosas also undergoes variations. In Ayurveda, 6 seasons have been described. Due to the environmental effects, dosas accumulates, aggravates and become normal in different seasons. Like Vata gets accumulated in early summer, it gets aggravated in the late summer, that is the rainy season, and it's calmed down in the autumn. Likewise, the Pitta accumulates in the late summer, that is rainy season, aggravates in the autumn, the Sarad Ritu, and the calms down in the early winter. On the contrary, the Kapha accumulates in the late winter, gets aggravated in the spring, that is Vasant Ritu, and calms down in the summer. For the maintaining of the equilibrium of the dosa, the best time to eliminate the aggravated dosa is during the season it gets into aggravated phase. So the Vata, Pitta and Kapha should be eliminated during the rainy, autumn and the spring season respectively. By this process, the conservation of the dosa is maintained. The changes in the dosas affect individuals according to the each one body each नहीं फिर से करें थोड़ा सा बस. The changes in the dosas affect individuals according to each one's body constitution. So in Ayurveda, various rules and regimens, charyas regarding the diet and behavior have been depicted to acclimatize with the seasonal variation easily without altering body homeostasis. Now we are going to talk about the relationship between the Tridosha and the diet. As per the Ayurveda, there are 6 types of rasas or tastes named as the Madhura is sweet, Amla is sour, Lavan is salt, Katu is pungent, Tikta is bitter and Kashaya is astringent. A balanced diet must include all the 6 rasas in a good balance. Rasas are also composed of 5 basic elements, that is the Panch Mahabhutas. Excessive intake of food having particular taste lead to aggravation of the dosas, and if any dose gets vitiated, use of specific rasa can be useful in bringing back its normal state. The relationships between the rasas and the dosas have been described here in this table. In the table it is described that the sweet rasa, it is predominantly composed of earth and the water element, and it aggravates the kapha dose. It aggravates the kapha dose, and the dosa decreased by intake of this sweet taste is pitta and vata. The sour taste, it is predominantly composed of the fire and the earth element, and the dosa increased by it is the kapha and pitta, and vata get decreased by intake of sour taste. The salt taste, it is mainly composed of the water and the fire element, and the kapha and pitta get increased by excess intake of the salt rasa, and the vata get decreased. The bitter rasa is predominantly composed of the air and the space element, and the vata dose get increased by excess intake of this bitter rasas, and the pitta and the kapha get decreased by its intake. The pungent rasa is predominantly composed of the air and the fire element, and the vata and pitta are increased by excess intake of pungent taste, while the kapha gets decreased. Astringent taste is predominantly composed of air and the earth element, and the kapha and vata dosas gets aggravated by excess intake of the astringent taste, while the pitta gets decreased by its intake. Now we will talk about the role of Tridosha in health and disease. Health is the state of the equilibrium of dosas, which is indicated by the balanced interrelationship between the various functions and parameters. When the original balance of the dosa is disturbed, or when they are aggravated by internal or external factors, there is an alteration in their expression either qualitatively, quantitatively or functionally, which leads to their disequilibrium for the individual. Disequilibrium in the dosas is the starting point for symptomatic expression and the initiation of disease. The basis of diagnosis of a disease is a dosa, and the classification of disease is mainly based on it. All the clinical symptoms can be classified and interpreted in the relationship of dosa. Sorry. एक सेकेंड इसको All the all clinical symptoms can be classified and interpreted in relation of three doshas. For example, the cough. If a cough is dry, the vata involvement is considered, and if it is protective, then kapha is said to be vitiated. No clinical sign or symptom or any disorder lie outside the purview of this classification. Now we are going to discuss about the role of Tridosha in therapeutic management. The Ayurveda primarily aims at treating the cause of the disease and not just the symptom by identifying the imbalances of the three doshas, which is the main cause of any disease. The line of treatment of disorders in Ayurveda is to bring back the equilibrium of dosa. To achieve the balance of the dosa, Ayurvedic medicines, diet, activity, that is mental and the physical, are used. The specific treatment modalities are used depending upon the dosa involved in the pathogenesis of the diseases or undergone imbalances. Now we are going to summarize the whole module. Ayurveda, the ancient Indian holistic medical science, which deals with body, mind and spirit, and its aims at preservation of health and prevention cure of diseases. Tridosha theory is the most fundamental concept in Ayurveda. The life is considered as a complex interrelationship of three dosas. The dosas actually represent energy complexes which are physiochemical and functional in nature, and it governs all life processes. The three dosa, the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, signifies the functions as movement, transformation and storage respectively. The knowledge of Tridosha is important in understanding the life processes, attaining healthy state, diagnosis and therapeutic management of diseases. It also performs the basis of personalized medicine, which distinguishes Ayurveda from the conventional medicine. Thank you.